So what is going on, people? Welcome to a video today that's a little bit different from the normal. We've done this in the past, but I didn't do it last year, mainly because I was having my break from YouTube after the Peterborough series. Predictions. It's that time of year. The Euros is just about to start. Hopefully, if I release this the day that I intend to, the Euros start tonight. The opening game will be Germany against Scotland. And well, I thought it would be just a little bit of fun. Let's predict the Euros, shall we? So, Euro 2024 predictor. There we go. We'll just hit the top one, the Telegraph. Okay, so this is how we look. So, we've got to predict first the group stage. Now, obviously, some of these are going to be more straightforward than others. Some of them a little bit different. Obviously, the third place as well is going to be something to consider. Now, I've had a look at obviously what the bookies are saying. I've had a look certainly at, some of the squads that have been announced. For example, some big players missing from some teams. But let's just go straight through this. So Group A, we have got Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. I made some notes here on my phone, so if I keep looking down, I do apologise. So I think, obviously Germany, Scotland to kick off the tournament on Friday. In this group, I'm thinking the Germans are going to win their group. Of course, haven't been the best in recent years in international tournaments. Of course, in the last Euros, we beat them at Wembley to secure passage to our final. Less said about that, the better. But I think on home soil, they've got enough about them. The Nagelsmann certainly trying to change the identity of the squad. Kroos has come back for this tournament. Of course, it will be his last tournament. I'm pretty sure he's coming back anyway. But you got the likes of Sane, Musiala, Havertz has had a decent season for Arsenal. You got Füllkrug, who played in the up front for Dortmund in the final. I think in this group, Germany probably quite clear favourites for me. Second place, I'm going to go for Switzerland because I think, obviously, in the last Euros, they knocked out France on penalties. France fell massively short to what they were expected. I think Switzerland have got enough big tournament experience. They're always a team that are in the World Cup or the Euros. They've got plenty of big tournament experience, and I think that will help carry them through against third place. So I'm going to go for is Hungary. I'm going to say Scotland are going to finish bottom. I just think the other teams, Scotland under Steve Clarke have obviously performed a lot better. This is their first, they made the Euros last time, didn't they, of course. Got that big 0-0 victory against England. But I just think, again, Hungary, they smashed England not too long ago. I just think between Switzerland and Hungary, Switzerland, for me, are more likely to finish there. But I think Hungary have got probably more about them than Scotland. So that's why I'm going to predict that group in that particular order. So Group B then, this is going to be a tasty little group. Spain, Croatia, Italy and Albania. Of course, the holders Italy in that group. And to be honest, you could make arguments for any of these teams. Certainly these three. I think Albania did have a good qualifying campaign. Have done really well to make it here. But I just think they'll be completely overwhelmed. I think they will finish bottom. But to finish top of the group, I'm going to go with the holders, Italy. Of course, Italy coming into this one, as the holders, so they will, be up there with the bookies, of course. They have got a very good squad, although I'm pretty sure didn't England beat them twice in qualifying. They've got Spalletti now as their manager after a recent change from Mancini, who went Saudi, didn't he? Spalletti, who, of course, won the Serie A with Napoli. Not the season just gone, the season before. So he's certainly a coach coming off a winning mentality. And I just think on their day, they showed it against England in the final. They were good enough to come through in that one. I think that they're just about going to edge out this group, mainly because I think Spalletti is going to carry them quite a long way. Second for me is going to be Spain. Of course, going through a bit of a transition themselves. They've got a new manager who, I'm just going to check his name actually, because Luis de la Fuente is the head coach. I'm just looking in. Morata is the captain, apparently. But, of course, they've got some very talented players out of Spain. Lamine Yamal has been called into the squad, I'm fairly sure, for this tournament. They've got Pedri and Gavi, although I know one of them's ruled out, isn't he, for the tournament? I can't remember which one. But I think Spain, again, they went far. Didn't they get to the semis last time? Isn't it Italy that beat them in the semis, if I remember rightly? Spain, always a candidate to go far. I just think, for me, Spain, one of those countries that kind of always throw a spanner in the works in terms of like formations and how they play. Morata's never really sold me as like a world-class striker. On his day, he's pretty good, but he's just not consistent enough, I don't think. But I think they have certainly got enough to get qualified for this group. Croatia, for me, are going to be third. Just an ageing squad, really. I just think Croatia certainly aren't what they used to be. Of course, World Cup finalists in 2018, but for me, just not what they used to be. Of course, had to really turn it around in the last World Cup to get through. So I think it will just be too much for them to qualify automatically. So that's what I'm going for in Group B. Group C then, England's group, and well, despite, not having the best of games against Iceland, I back us to win this group. We shouldn't be losing in this group. To be honest, we should be winning all 3 games, in my honest opinion. That's not slight England, obviously there's going to be some bias in there. I try to be as sort of, straight as possible. But with the squad that we have, we are certainly in this country the favourites to go and win the Euros. It's just whether we can finally get it right. We have a very, very good squad at our disposal. And you feel like, the likes of Kane as well, this is probably going to be the last tournament that he's going to be at his absolute best. So I think we should certainly be beating Slovenia and Serbia, maybe Denmark, or of course we beat Denmark in the semis last time to reach the final. But yeah, for me, England winning the group. In second, this was a bit of a toss-up. I am going to go for Denmark. Again, kind of like Switzerland, with their sort of big, their big tournament exposure and how much they've played in big tournaments. Of course, they've won more Euros than England have, despite the fact they shouldn't have been there. But even still, that was a story. Them winning it and them not being but getting in as 2 different stories in themselves. But Denmark are a quality side on their day. They've got some very good players. And I think they'll be confident heading into that one that they can certainly get out the group. It was a toss-up for me between Denmark and Serbia, who I have to finish third. Serbia, a bit of an unknown sort of, an unknown quantity. They have made tournaments in the past, but a team I feel like who've got really good players, and if they could, put everything together on their day, they could get it right. Obviously, they've got Milinkovic-Savic in the midfield, Mitrovic up front, got other players that can cause problems. So if they get it right, they could cause a problem. I think third is probably where they're going to finish, and Slovenia, unfortunately for them, I just don't think there's enough about them to even sort of trouble the other 3. Right, Group D then, and this one is quite tasty. Netherlands, Austria, France and Poland. Now, I think it's all fair, I think it's fair to assume, and I think everyone would say the same thing for me, France are going to win this group. They are made the World Cup final in the last major tournament. Obviously, their main man, Mbappe, is, not necessarily had the season that he might have wanted at PSG, although, of course, they won the league. He's just signed for Madrid. Maybe that's going to give him a massive confidence boost to go on and absolutely blast this tournament. They've got an unbelievable squad, the French. You look at the team that they've called up for the Olympics, and there's some great players in there that obviously won't have even made this squad. So, although they had a really, really poor showing in the last Euros by their standards, they've come on leaps and bounds. Obviously, they won the World Cup in 2018, made the final in 22. So, for me, easy favourites to win this group. It's actually second place. I don't know why, but I'm going to go... I do know why. Maybe controversially, I'm going to go for Austria to finish second. Now, You know, they're not an amazing team, Austria. If I just have a look at their team now, bear with me. I should have probably done all of this before I started recording. But yeah, they've got Ralf Rangnick as a manager. He didn't do wonders at United, but kind of knows what he's doing at a big time level sort of thing. They've got good players as well. You know, Alaba at the back there. He plays centre back for those guys. They've got Sabitzer in the midfield. I really like Sabitzer, although it didn't really work for him at United. He's had a really good season at Dortmund, helped them get to the final. You know, again, maybe firepower is where they're lacking in terms of, being like a consistent threat. But I like the Austrian squad. They're a team that just sort of, maybe go under the radar a little bit. And yeah, I just kind of fancy them to sort of get through this group a bit. It's going to be a challenge. This is sort of probably maybe my most controversial take of the whole group stage. I'm going to go Netherlands third, Poland last. Poland in recent years have just been non-existent. Lewandowski doesn't seem to turn up in major tournaments. They're certainly not the team they used to be. But for me, part of the reason I've gone for Austria over Netherlands as well is because Netherlands, don't get me wrong, they've got a good squad. But again, it's kind of like with Spain, up front where they lack for me, Okay, so they've got, I'm looking at this squad now, the current squad, this is according to Wikipedia, for the tournament. Verbruggen, Bilo and Flecken in goal. But all of those guys, 6, 8 and 7 caps apiece. They haven't got an established goalkeeper. I'd happily have maybe Verbruggen, probably Bilo, to be honest, with Feyenoord in goal. At the back, absolutely fine. Gertruda is a good player. De Ligt is there. Hasn't had the best season for Bayern, but at 24, he's only 24 still, you forget about De Ligt. He's got 45 caps. They've got Van Dijk back there. Frimpong has had a great season at Leverkusen. Van der Ven is back there. Could play left back. I'm Spurs are my second team, so I'm going to have a bias. I think he's brilliant. In midfield, they've got some decent players. Frankie de Jong in there. But, Xavi Simons is kind of there. Wijnaldum is not what he used to be. So they've got some newer players to get in there. And then up front as well, again, Weghorst, Depay on his day turns up. Gakpo can be a threat for the national side, to be fair. Marlon, Brian, they've got Bobby, and then Bergwijn. Again, it's kind of just like going forward, the Dutch just don't inspire me, and they kind of, they've got Koeman again for this tournament as their manager. They seem to cycle the same 3 managers like all the time. It's Hiddink, Koeman and Van Gaal. Like, they just need fresh, for me, they just need a fresh idea. They need fresh impetus. They've got certain players, if you can get them to play, like they've got Koopmeiners in midfield. He could be brilliant, but it kind of does a similar job to de Jong. Like, Ryan Gravenberch just hasn't really established himself enough, I think, to be a major player on an international scene. I just think there's not enough about. Okay, maybe Austria for me have got it more together than Netherlands have, I think, and that's why I'm going to go for them to finish second ahead of the Netherlands. Group E then, and I've seen a lot of talk about this particular group in terms of mainly second place. I think it's fairly cut and dry. I think, who is the Belgian manager now? I should have done a lot more research before this. Belgian manager is Domenico Tedesco. Okay. I feel like I remember seeing him getting the job. He's only 38, Tedesco. Who did he used to manage? Schalke, Spartak. He was the Leipzig manager. Okay. That's not bad. Yeah, I mean, for me, Belgium win this group. I think that's a fairly easy shout, to be honest. Despite the shouts that they've got an aging squad and, they're just certainly not what they, they're past their peak. You could say that for a lot of their players, but then I'm looking at their squad now. You telling me that can't be right? Surely Courtois not in the squad. Anyway, sorry, I'm just looking at the squad. Yeah, so you like the defense. The defense certainly isn't what it used to be. I'll give it that. You know, Vertonghen's in there. They've got Meunier, Castagne's in there, but then Arthur Thate from Rennes, Wout Faz from Leicester's in there. You know, Maxim de Kuiper is there from Club Brugge. So the defence is there to be got at. Keeper, looks like they're going to go for Castells from Wolfsburg. He's a decent keeper, to be fair. Midfield is a very different looking midfield, but it's still got De Bruyne in there, got the experience of Witsel. Tielemans, you know, can step up, but got exciting young players in there as well. Astor Franks is there. De Ketelaere are there from Atalanta. You know, Onana from Everton as well. It depends. I assume De Bruyne is going to, you know, everything's going to go through him. But then you look at the forward line and, you know, maybe in other areas they haven't got it, but Belgium's forward line is still ridiculous. Trossard's had a great season for Arsenal. Lukaku scores goals for Belgium, you know, and they've got Bakayoko, who's burst onto the scene with PSV. Openda's had a good season for Leipzig. I like the look of Openda. Jeremy Doku at Man City. So although the squad isn't, you know, it looks like it's gone through a transition, and they're trying to bring in some of these new players, you know, certainly it's you could get at this Belgian team, I think, quite a lot. But that forward line is still going to be a lot to contend with for a lot of teams. So that's why I have them winning this group. Second place is going to be Ukraine for me. I think Ukraine, again, have become that team that kind of like Switzerland, you know, are there at a lot of tournaments. I think Switzerland are going to get there more. Ukraine, as long as they have, you know, obviously what's going on in the real world, if they can sort of get their heads down and focus on this tournament, I really think that they are, you know, a good bet to finish second. They are a side that can cause problems, but they're one of those teams that are just there. They're always there or thereabouts. And, for me, Ukraine, I think slightly more well-equipped than Romania, who I have to finish third. And a lot of people maybe fancy them to sneak through ahead of Ukraine. Romania, of course, has been a long time since they were in a tournament, as far as I'm aware. Maybe Euro 2000? Or is that being too harsh on them? They made the group stage of the two... Oh, okay. I've done them a real disservice. They've made 2 Euros since then. But they got to the quarterfinals in the Euro 2000. Did we play Romania in Euro 2000? I feel like we did. But I was only little then. I say little. I was 5. They made the group stage in Euro 2016. Who did they have in their group? I'm getting off track now. Okay, France, Switzerland, Albania, and Romania. Right, okay. So, they lost 2-1 to France, drew 1-1 with Switzerland, and lost 1-0 to Romania. And the only goals they scored were penalties. But if you have a look, who have they got in their side? I don't even know. Who's their manager? Edward Jordanescu? No idea. I mean, you look at their team. Dragozin from Spurs is in there. Yanis Hadji. There's Marius Marin. Coman. Georgi Puskás. Go on the boy. Former Reading. Okay, so... yeah. Lots of unknowns. But then... there's not really many Romanians that play in big leagues, I would say. Depending what goalkeeper they go with. They have a goalkeeper that plays for Atleti. Obviously, Dragozin plays for Spurs, but a lot of their players sort of play for around Europe, just not a massive club. So maybe a surprise package. Maybe slow. I don't know. I think the unknown quantity of Romania is what's making me go for them over Slovakia. So, you know, it could be an interesting one, but that's how I'm going to look at it. Right then, Group F, the final group of the Euros, of course, in this extended format. So, Group F, for me, clear winners, Portugal. I think Portugal have real potential in this tournament. I genuinely think they could win the tournament. They have Roberto Martinez at the helm, which, you know, he did it for Wigan, and he couldn't quite lead Belgium to glory, but... He's certainly been there and thereabouts, has led big teams before, of course. But yeah, I just think they're really well rounded. I just think they've got such a good squad, and for me, they're a real danger in this tournament. So they're quite easily for me going to finish top. Now, second place again, maybe controversial. I'm going to go for the Czechs. I don't know. I just like, a lot has been said about Turkey in this. So just looking at the qualifying groups. Okay, I had it in my head that Turkey, they won their group, which is fair. They beat Croatia to win their group, as in they finished ahead of Croatia to win their qualifying group. And Czech Republic actually finished second to Albania, only on goal difference. But I don't know. I just feel like with Turkey, I just don't. One day they could turn up and be really good and cause a lot of problems, and then one day they can turn up and just be absolutely naff. And I think the Czech, I don't know many of them. Looking at the Turkey team, they've got again players that play for decent teams. Like Celik plays for Roma. You've got Çalhanoğlu who plays for Inter. Özcan plays for Dortmund. Kirkçu plays for Benfica. He's going to be a player. Arda Güler, the young player that plays for Madrid. They've got a lot of forward players. Yildiz, who plays for Juventus, can't say I've heard of him. They've got a lot of attacking players in their squad. But that's it just depends. It really depends what Turkey turn up. But for me, with Czech Republic, I don't know, I just feel like, again, maybe like with Austria, there's just that bit more consistency. Looking at their squad, I know, Kufal's the only defender there that I know. They're calling up a lot of players that not many caps for them, to be fair. But then their midfield, they've got Barak in midfield. They've got Souček there as well. Some good players in there. Czerny for Wolfsburg as well. And then that forward line, Klozek and Schick, both at Leverkusen. I just think, I really like Patrick Schick as a striker. I don't know, I just think it's two teams that I'm not well versed in, to be perfectly honest. And I just think I feel like the Czechs have got something more in them to get out of the group than the Turks. So I'm going to go with Turkey third, Georgia fourth. Listen, Georgia have done really well to get to the tournament. It's amazing. They made it there, It's lovely to see countries like that make it who would never otherwise have a chance. And it'd be interesting to see how the lad that plays at Napoli gets on. I can't for the life of me remember his name. And I probably wouldn't even be able to say it. But yeah, it's nice. It's just one of them. It's nice for them to be there, but it's kind of all it's going to be, really. Right. Now, picking third place teams. Right, this is going to be interesting because it's not essentially who do I just think are the 4 best of the 6 here. It's obviously who do I think can pick up points in, because that's the thing. It's the 4 best third place. So who is actually going to pick up points? And I think for me, I'm going to go Croatia. I think they'll beat Albania. They could nick a point off Italy or Spain. They really could. So I think for me that they pretty much for me guaranteed a win in this Albania game. I think that's kind of where I it's okay, I definitely think they're going to get at least 3 points. So that's why I'm going to put them in that top spot, and they could easily get 5. They could even beat Italy or Spain on their day. You never know. I think saying that, looking at the groups again, I'm gonna go Serbia. I think Serbia can beat Slovenia quite comfortably. Again, they could be a banana skin for both of these teams. I think they could pick up a win against Denmark. I think Denmark will have enough, but they could pick up a win. I think they could even hold us to a draw. But again, I just think they're one of those teams that they can, they're definitely going to get 3 points for me in their group. So I'm going to have to put them in there. Next, again, as I look through these groups, I think you can't not include the Netherlands. I think they'll be a bit risky, but they probably just about see off Poland. Again, maybe they could even finish second. Again, you can say that about a lot of these teams. I feel like they're less... I say less likely. They could finish second. I don't know. I just don't have the confidence. I love to see them prove me wrong because I love Dutch, like Dutch teams. I love Dutch fans. I think they're great. So for me, like, I think they'll navigate Poland. I don't know about the other two. Maybe they'll navigate Austria as well. But for me, I'm going to have them as the third place team. And then the last one, I think because of how unsure I was on that group, I'm going to go Turkey. Again, Turkey an unknown quantity. To me, anyway. They could, again, easily finish second in this group. I just put it on the likeliness, I think, of teams. Turkey will probably beat Georgia. Whether they can beat the Czechs, again, depends on whether they turn up. I think Portugal are routing this group. I think just for me, I'm going to put Turkey as that fourth place team just because I don't know enough about them. So for me, I can't call as confidently that they will pick up points. I think the last time I did a national tournament prediction, I predicted Turkey to come bottom of their group or something, and someone absolutely slated me for it, and they ended up losing every game. So you never know how these things are going to go. And then I think out of the last two, I think Hungary, again, more likely to get something out of that. Don't do this to me. Right, so that's how I think it's going to go. Oh, have I made a balls up there? Hungary going to... No, I'm going to stick with it. Right, okay, I've got to make a... That's stupid. I'm going to make a free trial. Hang on. Right, after all that faff then, we have reached the round of 16. So these are the games then that I have predicted will be in the round of 16. And there are some tasty ties in there. So, we'll go all the way through from in sequential order. So, Germany versus Denmark. Well, that could be a very good game. I think out of those two, I'm probably going to have the Germans. I think on home soil, they'll probably just have enough about them to get past Denmark. That's kind of, leading on the German crowd to really get them through. But I think they might just have enough, to be honest. Spain versus Switzerland, I think for me, that's a fairly foregone conclusion. I think Spain can navigate Switzerland in that one, not a problem. Italy versus Turkey, again, given how unsure I was about Turkey, I think that Italy can navigate them, not really a problem. England versus Holland, well, a game from tournaments gone by, and a game that would be, the fanfare would be absolutely ridiculous. You'd love to see it, but for me, given how unsure I was on the Dutch, I think for me, England easily get through that game. To be honest, I know it sounds bad, but I think, that's not routine, but we'd be comfortable. Portugal against Croatia, again, a very good game at this round. I think, considering what I've said about Portugal and how well I think they'll do, I think they can quite easily navigate this one as well. And that's a tasty little one. Austria against Ukraine in the round of 16. That's tasty. That is tasty. I think this is a game that could go to penalties, quite honestly. And just because they have more big-time players, I'm going to go Austria. Alaba, Sabitzer, to carry them through. I think, I didn't think off the bat I'd be backing Austria to go to the quarterfinals, but that's just how it lies, I guess, sometimes. Belgium versus Serbia. Again, we kind of said we didn't know how Serbia would fare. I called Belgium to win their groups. I think they get through that game. And again, as much as I would love to, I can't not see France beating the Czechs. I think that would be fairly routine for them. So this is how the quarterfinals lie for me. Well. Some tasty games. Some tasty games in there for sure. Germany versus Italy is mouth-watering. And for me, in this game, I think the Italians will come out on top. I think the Germans will just run out of steam, run out of ideas again. I'm backing Italy as holders with Spalletti in charge, to come good and have a, solid come-together team. So for me, I think that the Germans' run finally ends on home soil. Portugal and Austria, again, I kind of think similar to the Germans. Austria As good as it gets for them to get to the quarters, they won't have any answer for the Portuguese. Now, France against Belgium. The old battle. I've backed Belgium to do well, but I think it's the French. I think the French are just too strong for most teams. And I think they will beat the Belgians once again because of the inexperience maybe of the side compared to the strength of the French. England against Spain. Always a tricky tie against the Spanish. And they have some wonderful players. But I just think, again, we have, in my honest opinion, I think we have a more well-rounded squad. Just about than the Spanish. So I'm going to go the English. So the semi-finals then. Italy against Portugal. I don't know. My heart is saying one thing, my head is saying another, but then at the same time, my head is also saying, so, I think Italy on their day can be brilliant. And again, I've used Spalletti as an example. If he can channel his winning energy into that team, then they could do wonderful things. But I think the Portuguese squad is better. I'm going to go Italy. It's just my gut feeling. It could be a toss-up between these two. You could interchange either of these, and I think that either of them would be fine. Honest to God, I think either of these would make it in the final. England against the French. Again, heart's telling me one thing, head's telling me another. But I'm going with England because, one, I think this is arguably the best chance we have of winning a tournament. Kane's had an unbelievable season. Bellingham is just, he's got his name on the Ballon d'Or already, I think, this year. If we can figure everything else out, if we're on form in this tournament and we can figure everything else out, that combination of Kane and Bellingham, if Foden turns up as well, that would be class, because I think Phil Foden's unbelievable. Future Ballon d'Or winner as well, potentially. Revenge for the World Cup. That's my motivation. And I think it might just see us through. And then for me, in this tie, this one's probably easier to predict for me than these two. I'm going to go England. I think England beat Italy. I think we get revenge for last time out. Most predicted is France to win, only ahead of England by 2%, but I think it's our year. I genuinely think this is our year, despite the fact we were just beaten by Iceland and we haven't really got a left back. I think this is as good a year as any for us to do it. But we need players to step up in the right places. We need our big players to be on song. We need a big tournament. And I genuinely think this is our year. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I could quite easily, honestly, have had Portugal winning this. I think any four of these teams could win it. I honestly do. I honestly think any, and if Portugal or France win it, I wouldn't be surprised. But just because of the way that this has fallen, I think we beat Italy in the final and we'll get revenge. I genuinely think we do. So guys, if you agree with me, even if you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know in the comments what you think, how it's going to go. Are England going to win? Are England going to flop? Are Albania going to win the Euros? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the Euros wherever you're from. See you in the next one.